Yeehaw! It's Calgary Stampede 2020. Welcome to Chappie's Tiki Bar. This week I'm going to make a cocktail called Blood and Sand. I got best tropical destination stories, Calgary Stampede style. Then we're going to go to Calgary Mini Donuts, The Happy Fish, Cookie Dough YYC, Family Squeeze, and the Wurst Burger. Then I'm going to make chicken fried beef ribs. Then we're going to go to Bon Ton Meat Market. Then we got the Calgary Stampede Fun Facts. And then Appies with Chappie by the lake. Then we're going to deep fry a bunch of stuff. I'm deep frying a Reese's Peanut Butter Cup, a blueberry pie, Snickers bar, Twinkie, double stuffed Oreo, Billot log, York Peppermint Patty, Twix bar, Kit Kat, O. Henry, Sesame Snap, Twizzler, Coffee Crisp, Crispy Crunch, and a butter tart. All getting deep fried right here on Chappie's Tiki Bar. Howdy, partners! I'm wearing my Ron Mexico cowboy shirt, so that it can only mean one thing. It's Calgary Stampede time. Now, but alas, it's canceled this year. It's Calgary Stampede 2020. But it doesn't matter that it's canceled. Mookie and I are going to celebrate it in our own way. I'm going to deep fry a ton of stuff. We're going to go out and find some food trucks that are representative of carnival-type food you might find at the Calgary Stampede. First up, I'm going to make a tiki drink with scotch in it. I'm very excited. I don't know any other tiki drinks that have scotch in it. Then we're going to do Best Tropical Destination Story Calgary Stampede version. So Mookie and I are going to get started on that cocktail, and we're going to roll off Calgary Stampede 2020 from Chappie's Tiki Bar. All right, can I get a big yahoo for the Calgary Stampede? So if you don't get the Ron Mexico reference on my shirt, you're just going to have to Google it. This drink is called Blood and Sand, and it's from the book Liquid Vacation. The author is P. Moss. He's the owner of Frankie's Tiki Room, my most favorite tiki bar in the world, located in Las Vegas, Nevada. So it says Blood and Sand. This sophisticated bracer gets its name from a Valentino movie and is one of the few classic cocktails to feature scotch. Will drinking one turn you into a hot-blooded lover? It will certainly make you think you are. So it's 1 ounce of scotch, 3/4 ounce of cherry brandy, 3/4 ounce of sweet vermouth, 3/4 ounce of orange juice, and a cherry garnish. So I think I'm going to use my cocktail shaker for it. So I'll just get a little ice in there. So I have some Glenlivet Scotch. We're going to go 1 ounce. I'll make it a healthy ounce. All right, then we have 3/4 ounce of cherry brandy. Careful, Mookie. Three-quarters ounce of sweet vermouth. And 3/4 ounce of OJ. All right, we're going to shake it vigorously without upsetting Mookie. And then I have my cherry garnish. And that is Blood and Sand from the book Liquid Vacation. So coming up next, Mookie's going to summon the tiki drums, and we're going to do Best Tropical Destination Story. All right, get her going, Mookie. Thank you, Mookie. So this is the segment of the show we call Best Tropical Destination Stories. Now this week I'm going to substitute it with my best Calgary Stampede story. This is from a long time ago. I call this the Stampede story. So I was going to the University of Lethbridge at the time. So I headed up to the big city for the Stampede. My brother's girlfriend was living in Calgary at the time. Now, during the Stampede, hotels are basically non-existent. And if there are any rooms, they're way beyond any student's budget. So we planned to flop at my brother's girlfriend's place. So there was a crew of me, my brother, and about 5 other guys. And we planned to crash there for the night. So we had the full-on Stampede experience, fairground, bars, and the basic debauchery. So we get back to my brother's girlfriend's place, the wee hours of the morning. Somehow during the ruckus of getting in there, the cat got out. So my brother's girlfriend instructed him that we could not go to bed until we retrieved Seymour the cat. The only problem was Seymour did not want to be retrieved. So Bruce, my brother, and me were chasing this cat around the parking lot. We had him cornered, but then he sprang underneath the car. At this point, there was a voice from the 3rd floor, and it yelled, "Leave that cat alone or I will come down there and kick your ass." So I answered the voice coming out of the dark. I basically invited him down to explore that scenario. He didn't answer, so we went back trying to get Seymour from underneath the car. About 2 minutes had passed when all of a sudden this scrawny, shirtless kid comes flying out of the building. He's wearing these skin-tight Wrangler jeans that are tucked into cowboy boots. And again, he was wearing no shirt. So he comes running out, and for some reason, he runs right past me and straight for my brother. I think his strategy was to take out the biggest guys, and the rest of us would fall into line. I just found it odd. I was the one that engaged him, and he blew right by me. And so he does this spinning karate roundhouse kick and clips my brother in the shoulder. My brother falls back into the bushes. Then he comes charging at me. All I did was basically stick my fist out, and he ran right into my fist. But I did catch him in the eye, and I could see immediately his eye was starting to swell up. Now, in my haste of making a fist, I accidentally put my thumb underneath my pinky finger to punch him. The adrenaline was pumping, but the next day I had a severely sprained thumb. And then after that, I just kind of reverted into the 1920s boxing pose. So there was a lot of this going on. So then the shirtless cowboy's girlfriend yells down, "I'm calling the police." At this point, I think Buddy finally realized he was outmanned. And his eye was cut and starting to swell shut. So he cries out in this very high-pitched voice, "Call the cops! Call the cops!" So at this point, my brother and I grab the crying cowboy and push him over this embankment and down a small hill. We then gathered Seymour and went inside. About 20 minutes later, the police arrived. A female constable knocked at the door and said there was a report of an abused cat. Now the timing was perfect because at that point Seymour came out of the kitchen and started to press herself against my leg and was purring. The constable asked, "Is this the alleged cat in question?" The next day, the kid came over and he said his girlfriend was making him apologize. Not much of an apology, but I did get to see my handiwork in the light of day, and he did have a black eye. So that's my Calgary Stampede story. Send your best tropical destination stories to Chappiness Tiki Bar at yahoo.com and I'll read them on my show. So coming up next, we're going to go check out those food trucks and then we're just going to deep fry a bunch of stuff. So we got quite a feast. We got the lemonade. I got the raspberry lemonade. My only complaint is the seeds keep on plugging up the straw. It might be the lemon seeds though. Nothing more iconic than from the Calgary Stampede than mini donuts. Nice and hot. I got some cookie dough. Mookie doesn't like the cookie dough. And there's my schnitzel. I distinctly remember seeing schnitzel at the Calgary Stampede last year. So there you have it. Come here, Mookie. Come here, baby. Come here. Twinkie. Come here, baby. Come here. All right. We're gonna do some chicken fried beef ribs. So first up, we're gonna smoke them in nice apple wood. That's my ginormous rack of beef ribs. We're gonna put some rub on it. Just check out how big that rack of beef ribs are. That should be on the end of Fred Flintstone's car. I like the fruit wood, and then I have some Stubbs beef rub. Now the thing about rub is you don't actually want to rub it into the meat because I'm going to smoke the heck out of it. I want the smoke to permeate the pores in the meat. So we're just going to sprinkle the rub on. There'll be no rubbing involved. And that's my Stubbs beef rub. Stubbs is actually an awesome Texas barbecue place in Austin, Texas. I've been to there with my brother. They also make a darn fine barbecue sauce as well. So I gave it a healthy dose of the Stubbs beef rub, which is specific for beef. So we're going to get that on the smoker. So I'm going to smoke it for 5 hours. That's my Bradley smoker. You can see, yeah, so lots of smoke. Now the trick is to get this giant rack of ribs into my smoker. It's just too darn big. I had to fold it sideways just to fit it in. It's incredible how big that is. So after it comes out of the smoker, I'm going to braise it, meaning I'm just going to get a roaster pan, put some veggies on the bottom, carrots, onion, celery, then some beef stock. I'm not going to cover the ribs in the beef stock. The beef stock will be at the bottom. And then I'll braise it in the liquid for another 5 hours. Howdy, partners. So I got my ribs smoked for 5 hours, and then I braised them for 5 hours, so that was 5 and 5. So I put them in foil, and then I let them cool. Now I'm going to cut them. The reason I let it cool in the fridge is to let the meat cling to the bone so it won't fall off. So as I said earlier, I'm going to cut it so there's meat on both sides of the bones. So I'll show you how I'm going to cut these ribs up. So I want to do meat, bone, meat, and then take out a rib, meat, bone, meat, take out a rib, meat, bone, meat, take out a rib. So here we go. We'll just try to cut around this bone. Because I cooled the ribs, it's going through quite nicely. And then I'm going to deep fry it like a chicken fried steak. So I have a hunk of rib here. So I got the meat on this side, and then I'm going to cut the meat. So the meat's on the other side. And then that is one meaty rib. So I'm going to bread it and deep fry it. I'm going to just dunk in a little egg wash. I got some Italian breadcrumbs. Now for my side, I just got some mac and cheese. I formed it in a little ball. I'll probably bread it in something a little different to give it a different texture. So I got some grits, which is just like a cornmeal. So it'll kind of be like a hush puppy with mac and cheese in the middle. We'll get started on the deep frying, but first check out where I got these gigantic ribs from. I went to Bonton's Market, which is a old school butcher shop. So check that out first, and then we'll be back to deep fry these ribs up. All right, in goes the mac and cheese balls. Okay, there's a big Yahoo from the Calgary Stampede 2020. Here's a Calgary Stampede fun fact. On the actual fairgrounds where they have the Calgary Stampede, the daily attendance is 120,000 people. So that population, if it were a city, would make it the third largest city in Alberta. And that's per day, 120,000 people at the Calgary Stampede. So technically Red Deer is the third largest city in Alberta with a population of 91,000. So put that in your corn cob pipe, Red Deer, and smoke it. So coming up, I'm going to do some country gravy for my beef ribs, which I smoked, braised, then I'm going to deep fry them. I'm just going to do like a basic sausage country gravy. Now I got some nice salt and pepper sausages from Spalumbo's. If you want to check out episode number 3, Island Cooking, I actually go to Spalumbo's. I just have the sausage. I'm going to take it out of the casing, and we're just going to fry up the sausage nice and crisp. I'm going to add a little flour, some chicken stock, and some milk, and we'll have a nice thick sausage country gravy. All right, so I got that Spalumbo salt and pepper sausage all crisped up. You can see there's a healthy amount of grease on the bottom. I'm going to mix the flour in with that to get my roux. This is the Calgary Stampede deep frying episode, so no point in getting healthy now. Okay, got a little bit of heavy cream. And then I'm going to add some chicken stock. So I have some homemade chicken stock. So we're going to stir out the lumps, and that's going to thicken right up. And then I'm going to add an excessive amount of black pepper, and our country gravy will be ready to go. Next up, I got my beef ribs. Want to push them, drop them away so they don't splash. Probably should have put a little less oil in there. It's definitely looking a little dangerous. Gonna put the lid on. Alright, so that's looking real nice. Okay, so I got my mac and cheese ball, my country sausage gravy. So, going to plate that. I'm going to give it one last hit of salt. Okay, let's take a look-see. Oh, look how tender that meat is. It's nice and smoky. We'll open up that mac and cheese ball. Oh, delicious. Appies with Chappie by the lake. Welcome to Appies with Chappie by the lake. We got some toasted ravioli today. I got my beer. We won't go there. So I'm just going to hit it with a little bit of fresh Parmesan. And we got two kinds of dipping sauce. I got tzatziki and my homemade marinara sauce. So we'll give it a try. Just awesome. Alright, little doggies, so we're frying everything from Cotton Eye Joe to I don't know. If you know what movie that's from, leave it in the comments section below. Scotty, I know you know. I was a little disappointed nobody got my orange whip reference in episode number 3. So for this reference, if anybody leaves a comment, I'm going to send them $100. Now, I have the $100 hairs right here. You might be asking yourself, why does a grown man have a decapitated doll head in his basement? Well, in the words of Hammy the hamster, that's another story. So I have a ton of stuff I'm going to deep fry. Think I'm going to just put it all in pancake batter and fry it up. Pancake batter is super easy. Just add water, and I'm using... moving right along. So I think the thing that I'm most excited about deep frying, I have a little mini blueberry pie. I have sesame snaps. Now they're crispy, so I'm interested to see, like, it's mostly just sugar, so I'm interested to see if it gets like chewy or what happens to that. I'm going to try to deep fry a strawberry Twizzler. Have a Twinkie I'm going to deep fry. I have Oreos, of course, double stuffed. We'll put some batter on that, deep fry it up. I also have a Billot log. It's sort of like a Swiss roll cake. And then I just have a barrage or plethora of Canadian candy bars. So I have a York Peppermint Patty. I got a mini Kit Kat, mini Twix, a mini Snickers, a mini Crispy Crunch. I really like these. It's peanut butter flavor. I think the most Canadian chocolate bar at all, I have a Coffee Crisp. You can't get more Canadian than that. I got O. Henry, and my favorite Reese's peanut butter cups. So stay tuned, we're gonna fry it all up. First up, we got Reese's Peanut Butter Cup, an American candy marketed by Hershey Company. It was created by H.B. Reese, a former dairy farmer and shipping foreman for Milton S. Hershey. Reese left his job at Hershey Company to start his own candy business. I think this was actually one of my favorites that I deep fried, but I do really like the peanut butter cups on its own. So that is just some ooey gooey goodness there. Delicious. After this, I felt so greasy, I think I needed a shower. Next up, we got blueberry pie. This reminded me a lot of when I was in New Orleans. They had something called Hubigs, which was a deep fried pie. Now the Hubigs didn't have the batter, but I think the deep fried pie, and later on I'm gonna deep fry a butter tart. Those two were tied for second on my favorite list. So next up, we got the Snickers bar, also made from an American company. It's the American company Mars. In 1930, Mars introduced Snickers, and they named it after the favorite horse of the Mars family. So a little Snickers trivia there for you. So I actually, I think with the Snickers bar, I didn't either didn't leave it in or didn't get the oil hot enough. You can see the little Snickers bar poking its head out. It actually looks like an egg roll taking a poop. Next up, I got the billet logs. So yeah, that's covered in coconut. Nice, I think it had a cake with jelly in it. So you know this is going to be good. A little slippery there. So there it is. Anything with cake in it that's deep fried, it's got to be good. So yeah, I'd say that's number 3. And then, we got the Twinkies coming up. I think that I like the Twinkie better than the billet log. That cream in the Twinkie is just delicious, and then it got a little heated up, so that was just awesome. They say those Twinkies will last forever. Next up, I got my double stuffed Oreos. These were quite nice as well. You see a lot of deep fried Oreos in Las Vegas and a lot of fairs like the Calgary Stampede. So this is nothing really new. So I really like the deep fried Oreo. I'd say my least favorite was the Twizzler, just because I think I ate everything that was really sweet, and then the Twizzler didn't have as much sugar, so basically after all that sugar there was no flavor. That's the York Peppermint Patty. Didn't care for the York Peppermint Patty either. Just the peppermint seemed a little less refreshing once it was heated up. Yeah, it was kind of disgusting. And Twix was good. I mentioned earlier that the Coffee Crisp is the most iconic Canadian chocolate bar. Leave your opinion in the comments below what you think is the best Canadian chocolate bar or the most iconic. Kit Kat's got to be up there. That was my impersonation of my friend RJ at the Calgary Stampede. Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you. So thanks for watching my Calgary Stampede 2020 episode. And make sure you hit the like button and please subscribe. So this is Chappie on behalf of Mookie saying, same as it ever was. Same as it ever was. See you next time on Chappie's Tiki Bar.